All right, welcome everyone. Hello. We're just about to get started with today's virtual conference on digital to print publishing, also known as under the title Reverse Publishing, the journey from web to print, which is the title I like a little bit more. And I think won in our A/B testing when we were doing the promotions for this. So today, I just want to start off, introduce myself. My name is Matt Larson. I'm the CEO of our hometown. And before I bring on our guests, I want to just welcome all of our attendees. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Now, I always say this, but I just want to emphasize once again that this conference is for you. It's all about the participation. So we really welcome all your questions and comments. I want to help you just quickly. As far as the interaction goes, all the attendees are on mute, so we won't be able to hear your questions. But if you have any at any point, please type them in the GoToWebinar questions box, which is right here. You should see that on the right on the GoToWebinar application. So it might be hidden. So if you could open that up, go ahead and type a hello in there. So I know that you all can hear me, and I know that you all know where the questions box is. Okay, so while we're waiting for those to roll in, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker. Today, we'll be hearing from Meg Norris, the publisher of Litmore Publications, which is a group of 5 weekly papers located in Long Island, New York. Welcome, Meg. Great to have you on the show.
Hi, Matt.
All right, so now I want to just make sure that my camera, we have our cameras being shared. Is the screen being shared? Can you all see my screen right now? Let's see if we can get some feedback. Meg, actually, can you see my screen?
I can see you. Yeah, it's our hometown virtual conference thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. So what I want to do now is just turn this right over to you.
Okay.
And so I'm going to escape from my screen.
Right.
And we're going to turn this over. Let's see. Make you the presenter.
All right. I got to share my screen though, right? Wait.
Correct. It'll pop up and offer. Let's see. I can also send the message again. No problem. Oh, no, here it is. I don't know if I actually sent it. So the goal here, just so that everyone knows, is that Meg is really just a total innovator on this front. She was really the first one to take up this new tool that we developed for reverse publishing years ago. And so, we've been doing these interviews for a while with Meg, but this is the first time we're doing it live. So, okay, and I'm seeing all this feedback, so thank you. You can see the screen. Okay, so Meg, I just want to pass it right over to you because, like I said, you're kind of the innovator here of this whole workflow. So can you just walk us through how you put together the paper each week?
Sure. Okay, so let's see. First, here's our website, which we've already logged into. You have to do that first. I generally get material in from different sources, from people in the community or from our reporters. And a lot of it comes by email. So I'm going to just work today with a Word document that I have from a story that we'd used in a couple of weeks ago. First thing you have to do before you do anything, though, is you have to set up your reverse publishing, which you really only end up doing it once. So what you do after you log in is you go to your dashboard, and I have it down here somewhere. Is it? There it is. Okay. So you go into it, and you have here, it shows you which edition it's looking at. You generally don't need to mess with that. But down here, you have these character styles. And the first time you use it, you have to make sure that these styles match up with your InDesign templates. I'm assuming most people who do page layouts know how templates work. Where you have, I'm just going to open mine to show you what I need to do here. Okay. So over here on the side of your template, you'll have all your different character styles and paragraph styles. And what our hometown does, let me just, sorry, I'm moving it too fast. Let me move it over so it's visible on both.
No problem. This is perfect.
Yeah, each of the character styles here, like a title, it says headline 30p. That matches up with one of the ones we had already created here, which is headline 30p.
Right.
And that's just a 30-point headline. That's sort of a typical headline we'd use on stories. And they can always be changed later. This is just to do the importing.
Right.
What Our Hometown does is it take every piece of text that you put in, that you're reverse publishing, it tags it with labels that are like, they're called XML tags. And Our Hometown takes those tags and it makes them equivalent to what your character and your paragraph styles are over in InDesign. So the character style here is 30p and this headline style is 30p. And one thing I note is you have to be exactly, it has to say exactly the same thing, like a lowercase p wouldn't work right. I discovered this, took a little while.
Right.
And there's different fields that it includes. So you can have a title, subheads, byline, body, and captions.
Right.
And all of those are reflected in my own InDesign, what do you call it, template here.
Right.
So that's, you only have to do that once, and once you do it, it persists. You can always change it later if you find that you'd rather have a 28-point headline or a 40-point headline or whatever on your template. Okay, so hang on a second.
Good background. Yeah.
Okay, it's sort of background. You need to know how it works really to understand it.
Absolutely.
Now there's different ways you can use a reverse publishing tool. I like to use it one story at a time because I like to have, I'll have a story exported, I hand it off to my art department, and they lay it out into what I call chunks, where I'll have, something will be a half page of a certain dimensions, and they lay it out more or less to that style. Another way you could use it is if you wanted to do a whole section at a time, you could save all your articles and export them all at once. I'll show you how to do that when I get to the end of this, but for now I'm just going to do one at a time.
Awesome.
Okay, so I like to clear all the caches that are in there, because every time you publish an article on your website, it goes into a cache so that it can get exported. But it means anytime you do an update, it goes into the cache. So I like to clear it before I start, just so I don't have extra stuff coming out of the file unexpectedly, which is sort of annoying. Okay, so now when you're ready to start your first article, you go up here to New and you go Article.
Right.
Okay. And it opens up the new articles format here. I'm going to open up, this is just a Word document with a sort of a sample article that we've used in the past because I wanted to show it. And so I'm going to shrink this a little so it's easier to see it all at once. Okay, so this was the headline, and I'm just going to cut and paste it into the title field. That's something else, sorry. Yeah, Word sometimes gives me, sometimes when you cut and paste in Word, it doesn't always give you the last thing you did.
Oh, okay.
That was a mistake. And Word is now giving me the spinning ball of death, so hang on a second here.
Okay, no problem.
See the little,
If we could just break it down, just pause for a second here on your workflow. So I think a lot of papers do it like this, where people email articles to each other, right? Like in Word documents, or even in just you have an email. So you're getting these emailed to you by reporters and things, and like freelancers, right?
Yeah, freelancers, even members of the community send me their, the Girl Scouts did a camp out thing, and we'll put it in the paper. We're not, shy.
But you are kind of making that step of putting it into the CMS. You're the only one doing that. Okay. Right.
Yeah, and actually during, we're filming this now right at the end of the pandemic, when the last month or so we were down with skeleton staff, and I was doing a lot of this all by myself, where I would put the articles online and then I'd go and do the layouts and send it to the printer. It was being able to do this really helped a lot. It was very important to us. So
great. Okay, so go ahead, continue.
Okay, now that Word is behaving itself again. So you cut and paste. Hopefully this time it will in fact paste the right thing.
Right.
Yeah, my Word. There you go. Okay.
Cool.
This is a subhead here, which there's a field for that down below here. Okay.
Right. So we have a structured field. This is where we start to structure the article and where those tags come in, which you already told.
Each of these fields down there will be tagged when they come out on the reverse publishing. And here's a byline.
Excellent.
Yep, didn't do that one. So, yeah, my Word is stupid. Sometimes it doesn't, like it takes a minute for it to,
Update the buffer.
Yeah, the buffer is stupid on my Word. I have captions at the bottom. We'll do those in a minute after we show the text of it.
Okay, perfect. Wait. Yep, so we'll see how an image will work with the.
A second. Yeah, a second. Control-Z that.
No problem. Take your time. Now, I just want to, again, like, set the stage here a little bit really quick. So the idea of reverse publishing, the definition would be publishing it on the web first. So it's like web to print.
Right.
So this is the first place that this is really being published. Possibly, actually, you wait until the print edition comes out. So you do it a little different.
Although it depends. Like last night I had a story that was timely, so I put it online, and then I'm sending that one back out to the printer later. Yeah,
exactly.
There's different ways to do it.
That's the benefit. You can do that. So go ahead.
Right. Okay, so this is the text of the article I pasted in while you were talking. I also have some captions that are down here, and for those, what you want to do is you can just drag your photo into the location in the article you want, and I'm just going to put it up at the top here. Okay, that takes a second. Right. There it is, that one. Okay, yes. So this, and for this one, you'd put the captions in these fields here. So we do that. No, sorry.
So
okay. Yeah, this is Word. This is not your program.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, just to explain what's happening here, this is the media library on WordPress. Right. And so she is now creating a file on there for the image, and the caption is going to be associated with that image going forward. It's in the metadata. Right. So when she pastes that in there and saves it, it will.
Yeah, the other thing, another thing you have here is your alt text, which a lot of publishers have been learning that you need to put alt text for each of your photos to maintain ADA compliance. I often use the same caption if it's just, describing the kid, playing his piano. I'm sorry, his whatever saxophone.
Right.
So, if it's an image, sometimes I'll write a description of the image because that's probably a better practice. Yeah. You can also right here you can give a size to it and alignment to it, although you can also move things around manually too. So that pops it in right here, and it's on the left. I'm just going to stick the other pictures, say here, just so we have it.
Okay, great.
All right. That one's loading a little faster. Okay, and while that's loading, I'm going to hopefully Word will behave itself and I can put the right caption in. Okay.
We have a question here that I want to get in really quick from someone. So these are images that are going to end up in Adobe for the print edition. So how does that work with like uploading the image to the website? How do we get the print quality out at the end?
Actually, I checked that, and the quality is the same going in as going out. It's got the same size file. It doesn't seem to downgrade it, which is really good. That would have been a problem, in fact.
That's perfect. I'm glad you checked it, because I was going to say the answer on that I happen to know is that we just save the original image and export that. We create a copy in RGB, and that's what's displayed here. And also, when you said you could set the size on the image, that's only going to downgrade the RGB. It's only going to shrink the RGB, not the original that goes out to print. So,
yeah, and that's a good point, because when I color balance my photos, I color balance them to a CMYK palette for the printer. But I think, change them back to RGB, which is actually a good practice.
Exactly. That's what you need to do for the web. But yeah, if your practice is CMYK for print, we can still handle that. So, okay, great question. Keep them coming, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, and so now I've got everything put in there, set up in there. And here is where I'm going to start using the different tools that our hometown has on the side. They're all over on my screen. They're all over on the side here. In the event you don't see any of them, where's the screen? There's a, Okay, but I think there's a screen options thing here because I may have turned off a few of the things that are normally on the side.
Oh, I think if you just scroll up a little bit, is that right?
Is it?
Are you already
Oh,
scrolled
yeah,
to?
okay. Yeah, so
Oh,
if any of the things on the right on my screen don't appear on yours, you should be able to find them up here. I just turned off
right.
some stuff that I don't use.
Right. Good.
Okay. All right. I'll get back to these in a minute, but let's go down here. Now, one thing Matt mentioned is that I like to save the publication on our website until right around when our print edition goes out, just for reasons. Other people might want to put it out immediately, in which case you'll be changing this field here. For me, right now, because I don't want this to go live right on my website right now, I'm just going to make it a date sometime next week so that it's not, going to be live on the website. You can make it any date you want. If you wanted to not change the date and have it go out, you can just say OK right here. So this will change it from publish to schedule instead.
Perfect.
We're not going to schedule it yet because there's a couple things we got to do first.
Nice.
You have to give everything a category tag because the way your website works is that there are these what they call widgets which pick up tags from each of your articles, and you can tell it how to display them. So we're going to call this one community because I have a widget that looks for community articles and then displays them in a particular way that I want. I like to tag things. I think this came from our school district, so I'm just going to call it Garden City Public Schools. There's a feature that you can have articles with similar tags display near each other, so that's why I like to do that. Let's add that. Your edition tag is important because I guess nothing really works without it. Everything, you can't even reverse publish without the edition tag. I'm gonna tag it for next week for now because I don't want it to go out on today.
Right. Okay.
The other thing the edition tag does is if you use your newsletters, it's needed for that. I think Matt probably could get it more into what editions are important for, but that's how I understand it so far.
That is a big part of it. That's true. Yep.
Okay. Featured image. So you pick one of your images that you've just uploaded. I'm going to pick the kid. And that becomes a thumbnail on your website. It also, if you use social media, that becomes the featured image on your social media. For things like Facebook and Twitter, it's important to have an image because their algorithms are looking for images. So right. It'll give you better coverage if you include images with things. You can also include an image that you don't put in your print edition. Like sometimes if I have just a schedule of events from the library, I'll just put in a picture of books or something like that so that we can put it on Facebook and it gets good coverage that way. So yep. That's that. All right. After I do all that, I go up and I hit schedule. And it thinks for a minute, and then it will, and that's email from somebody. Okay, okay, all right. Okay, so now the article is there. I didn't make this particularly good. If you want to look and see how it looks, you can look at your preview, and it'll build a little preview even if it's not yet published.
Right.
Which is, helpful. You might decide, the picture doesn't look good. I'm not going to mess with it right now, but that's where you would get an image, an idea of how it's going to look on your website.
Right.
All right. Right. If you have other publications, and this is where, when we were shorthanded, this was really helpful because I have some articles that are appropriate for different ones of our papers. So up here, you'd hit, I'm going to send it to my Syosset paper and send it there. And I don't know what that. All right, that was some weird error message.
Oh, huh.
Let me do it again.
You want to send it though?
Yeah.
It's okay to send?
Normally I don't see that. Sometimes it glitches. Not very often, honestly.
Okay.
All right, now it's sent it to Bethpage. I'll have to look into that one later.
So let's back up just a second here. Okay. So this is a brand new tool. Well, it's not that new, but relatively new for our hometown where you can send articles between sites. So you've got 5 weekly papers that all cover kind of overlapping counties, right? Somewhat.
Yeah, some towns are overlapping, some are not, depends.
Okay, so for you, it makes a lot of sense to share it. And then, so if you shared a story from here to, like we just did to Bethpage, would it be exported from Bethpage into print?
So it goes into the queue to be exported to print on Bethpage, but since I only really want to export it once, I just export it from the place I originated it from.
Okay.
And that's another reason why I like to clear the cache before I start doing exports, because otherwise you get stuff from other papers that
For
you may
sure.
or may not want again. So that's,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yep. No, that makes sense. Okay. Now before we move on to the next session, I just want to section here of the export. I just want to go through this one question. Are tags how articles show up in search engines? And the answer to that is that's part of the equation that Google uses. I would say. I mean, you're using it because what is the reason that you use it? Is it for indexing for readers or for you as a publisher?
Are you talking about category tags or are these
categories? But I think he's asking about the actual tags like that, Garden City Public Schools. So,
I don't know actually. That's a good question.
So yeah, I mean tags are part of the metadata that are used by search engines, but so are categories. Categories is another type of tag. But the category.
When I signed up for Google, I had to sign up for which kinds of categories we covered. I don't know, does that cover it?
Is that related to this?
Yeah.
Probably is related to the sitemap that they are trying to match up. So they want to be able to see all the categories on the site, before they even get there. But yeah, I mean that's basically how. Let's see, below categories. Right. Yeah, those tags. Yeah. So Tommy, I'm not sure if you're on WordPress and you use tags, but they are a factor. I don't think they are like the be all end all. They're one factor of many that Google uses in their ranking. Okay, and one question here, one other one just before we move on, Meg. Are reverse publishing and multi-site publishing two different plugins? Okay, this is a good question for anyone already on WordPress on our hometowns platform. They are two different plugins, so we'll need to activate them separately. Meg uses them together because she has a group and she's reverse publishing, but not everyone that reverse publishes has a group of papers, so they're not all using multi-site. So that's a good question just from a technical side, Terry. Okay, great. We're getting questions from people already on our hometowns platform, but also from people that are not. So this is a good mix. Okay, go ahead, Meg. Take us on to the next step.
Okay, so I've done everything, and you can update it as many times as you want. And then when you're done, putting it on your website, you want to go to export it to print. So you go down to reverse publishing and gets back to that screen we were looking at before, and you just hit export. And as you can see, it's exporting. It's going to my downloads folder. I just keep a little window for the downloads folder here. So right now we're going to minimize my internet browser and also get rid of the Word file. And this zip file here is the one that just downloaded a minute ago. As you can see, it says 626. That's the issue that we picked it for. And when you unzip it, it should come up with a folder it's got the two pictures that were just passed through essentially, and it's got an XML file. And It's kind of interesting to look at what's inside that XML file.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Yeah, just it helps you sort of understand what's going on. If you look at it, every piece of text has a tag associated with it, even ones that weren't originally on the 5 that our hometown gives you. If you want to I'm not going to get into it here because I'm not even totally sure how it works, but you can map other kinds of tags in InDesign from these export files. That's something you'd probably want to look up on different help places online and read about it.
Sure.
For now, we're just going to ignore that though because it's a little too complicated, I think, for now.
Before you close that, could you really quickly just zoom in on that actually, because your screen is kind of big. If you you do Command plus, I think.
Yeah.
If on the
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Make it a little bit bigger. I do want to dig into this because this is cool. For people that understand this stuff, I think it's really interesting.
Right. It might be. That's kind of beyond the beginner level though. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's called if you search for map XML tags to InDesign styles, you'll find a lot of information about it. I looked at some of it. I've played with some of it, but I'm not really expert at it exactly yet.
Right, right. Gotcha. Okay. No problem.
But if you look like this name here, this one in the original piece of text was bolded, so it's called a strong tag on this XML.
Right.
I think this was italics, I believe. I have some of it set up on my documents, but I don't really have it working perfectly, so got to
Gotcha.
play around with it a little
Well,
more.
yeah, because that's one that we didn't actually provide
Right.
a field for, but
Yeah,
we
the
do
ones up
tag.
here are the ones that you've provided fields for, where it says subed 14p. That's one of the fields that you gave us.
Exactly. So let's just look at that. You got headline 30p, subhead 14p. People maybe remember earlier from that screen you showed us right in the beginning. Those are tags that you chose, but you
Mm-hmm.
chose them because they are the tags in InDesign. So it's
Yeah.
just all about matching whatever you have in InDesign, if it's a default setting or if it's something you custom created.
Yeah, it has to match exactly though. It has to be, it's case sensitive for one thing.
Right. Perfect. Okay, great.
All right.
So yeah,
So,
this is our article
yep.
structured stories.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, the neat part, I think, is when you, so I created a template just for reverse publishing. It's pretty simple. You can even use your regular templates if you want. I just thought this was handy. So I have just a page with our normal, page size on it, normal columns that we usually use. And let me just open this up a little more. What you do is you go to File and you say Import XML. And it will ask you where you're looking for. We're going to go to my desktop, which is, here's the folder I created for you. I'm sorry, I want to go to downloads, not desktop. Let me try that. Downloads, and this is
Right.
the folder that we just opened. Here's the XML I want to do. All right, so we just say open. And I just use the defaults here. I haven't messed with those. And when you open it, it creates it opens a panel called the structure panel in InDesign. And when you turn this little caret, you get the story. Now, if you had chosen to export a bunch of stories at once, like your whole section, you'd have a separate item for each story here. And you can, let's see. So this is the first story. You'd have a whole row of these.
Right.
Some people may want to do their designs that way. That's different choices. All right, when you open the caret here, you have each of the tags that Our Hometown has given you, and then the 2 photos are here as well.
Right.
So grab this first title one and drag it right in there, and it pops into the InDesign nice and neat. Let's see, each element needs to have its own box, however. Let me just get over here. So I have, let me grab that. I have a box for the subhead. All right, well, I'm not going to be perfect at designing this because.
Yep. No, that's all good. We get the
Yeah,
idea.
and
So that's your
yeah, let
subhead.
me just zoom in on one thing here. Just want to.
Yeah, that'd be great actually if you could
If I can.
zoom in a little bit.
All right. I wanted to zoom over here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but next to each element, there's a little plus when you put it onto the design. And if you were to delete this section,
Yeah.
that plus would go away. So you know if you have left off anything because you'll be missing the, it'll be
Nice.
sitting over here.
Good
So,
tip. Yeah.
So here is, let me just do that again, duplicate that thing. Just gonna get my box back again.
Right.
Okay, so let me put the subhead back here. This one is gonna be the byline. It's here, and let me just slide that one over here.
Right.
Okay. Just gonna make that sit on top so it doesn't, okay. The body of the story, you just drag over here. And because I was playing with the XMLs, I do have some bolding and
Yeah.
InDesign, sorry, italics. I'm still working on getting that just right, but we'll, close enough for now.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Very.
right. All right. And then you have photos. Let me just.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah, when you open the body, it shows you each paragraph. You can place each paragraph separately too. I just drag them all over at once because it's simpler for me. But you might have a design where you wanted to have different paragraphs in different places, and you could do it from there.
Excellent, excellent. Okay.
When you open the graphic, it shows you the image, and we're going to pull in this one here. All right. Let's see. Let me get him right. Where's that? I'm looking for my. Wait a second.
Is this to
I'm just trying to, yeah, get his image in there. This is the one I wanted. This just fills it frame proportionally. That's an InDesign thing. Probably.
Yes, I think that's a setting on the box.
Yeah, I'm assuming you have some familiarity with InDesign already. If you don't, that's, it's a sort of basic thing of how boxes work. The caption would go over here. And actually, it's got a space before it, so let me just fix that. Okay. And then this is gonna pop in there, but it has to be brought to the front. Right. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Well, these are just InDesign things that, I think most people probably who use it already know a lot of this.
I think, probably, but you never know. I think a lot of people on the call are probably pretty technical, but we have a question here, which is an interesting one.
Okay.
When you were adopting this, and you started by bringing on 4 of your papers onto the platform that didn't have websites, right?
Right.
You were just starting up fresh. How long did it take you to kind of get into the new flow of things, the new workflow?
It wasn't too hard. I had to sort of figure out things like, like I think I mentioned the having to match up the style things. That was a little bit.
Right. It's a lot of setup stuff in the beginning. Like matching that, but once that's set up.
Yeah, really, it's not bad once it's set up at all. It wasn't that bad setting it up either. It's giving us the websites that are kind of done as we go, basically. I mean, we were already working in print for years before that.
Right. I think it was a very smooth transition for you because you didn't have a set workflow in place for the website. It was a brand new website, so we could just jump into it. So, I mean, I think the answer on that is it would vary, but our turnaround on these things is we can set up a prototype in about a week, Deb, and then we can let them use it and become familiar with the tools so we can launch it very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it means that one person is doing the designing both for the website and the paper kind of at the same time, which I think is a savings. I didn't have somebody already doing a website for us. So this, that was my reason for doing it.
Right. Well, you didn't really add any work. I mean, it's part of the print process now. You're using the website to organize your articles for print. It's your preprints.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks great. This is really coming together here as we're just talking. I'm liking this article.
So I mean, what I do is, other people may do different things, but I'd like to build this during the week, and then when we come up to our crunch time, I'll have this is another page right here that it's already got the dateline and an ad that's going to go on it, and what I can do is I can just, grab this story and bring it over to the other page, and there we go. We're ready to send that to print.
Love it. So, well, that's a cool little insight into your process. Let's throw out a quick poll here. I don't know. I guess I can create an official poll, but let's just ask it as a question here. If everyone could type in the questions, do you do your layout one story at a time like Meg, or do you do all articles at once? I'm just interested in what the split is on that because, as you said earlier, Meg, the system is set up so that you can do either. You can do it one article at a time, one section at a time, or the entire edition.
You know what, let me just show how you export everything at once, because that's actually
Oh,
something
great.
that's
That would be
interesting.
perfect.
So if you go over to your articles is here. So this shows all of the articles that are on your website, like for forever and ever. You can filter it or sort it over here. If you were to, it has bulk actions here, and one of the things you can do is check off whichever articles you want and export them all at once, or send them all to different newspapers if you have multiple papers, which is handy. I
Right.
don't actually use it, but it's handy.
Right.
So
Sure. Okay, very cool. Yep. You can do it on that level. I believe you can also on the page where you set the XML tags, you can
Mhm.
also there you can do an entire edition or individual sections. I think,
Right.
but I mean, there's so many ways you can do it. You could be on this page, the all articles, and then just
Yep.
filter by edition and
Right.
category and do it that
Right.
way too, to do
Yeah.
sections.
Yeah, you could just say, give me all the categories from community for, I'll just do the most recent edition. And,
Yeah.
we got dozens of them. And, and I
Right.
can export them all at once or something.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Okay, great. So we have a question here. We use or it's kind of a comment, but I do want to comment on this. We use a layout company sending all files at once and editing back and forth by making comments on PDF. So have you ever, do you know publishers that use layout companies? Like there's some companies where they can kind of outsource that. I've heard.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've heard of outsourcing ad design, but not
right.
page design, but I guess it exists. Yeah.
It
Huh.
might, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this would probably be a very natural fit, Tommy, because you could just send them the XML, the zip folder that Meg downloads, and then they could just lay it out from there. So it'd be a really efficient way to transfer the information. So, I don't know how you do it now, exactly how you send the stories for them to lay it out, but this is another consideration. Um, so go ahead, Meg. Were you going to say something?
No, I'm kind of at the end of what I had to say.
Good. I just didn't want to interrupt. Well, we have, look at that. I knew it. We were going to take most of the time just going through your demo. So let me just check my notes here. Oh, wait, we have another question. Would sending XML files be easier for them than Word documents? I mean, yeah, let me ask you, Meg, like, well, you're kind of doing a combination of the two. Like, you're collecting all these Word documents onto the website, and then you send it to XML. But I mean, what they're doing is they're sending Word documents to the paginator.
Right. I mean, the material I get in isn't all in Word form. Some comes in and just people type, put it in their email. I get all
Right.
sorts of crazy different programs. People send stuff in and I convert it. So yeah.
And maybe the image comes separate or something
Right.
like that in a different email. So this would be a way, I think the XML allows you to organize everything into one file and then just bulk export it to the paginator. So they're not, it really makes life for the paginator easier, Tommy, I would say. And the person that's kind of doing the air traffic control is now managing the content on the website rather than piecing all these Word documents together for print. So, okay, another question here. We'll just open it up to questions at this point. So drop them. Now's the time because I think we're pretty much done with the demo. Screen options on all article page. Okay, setting number of articles puts all
Yep.
selected articles on one page.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yes. Oh, okay, good. Thanks, Terry. Good tip. So you mentioned this earlier, but we can uncheck certain
Oh,
columns if we
huh.
want to, like if you're not really using tags or the public access, everything is publicly accessible, so we don't really need that column. We could
Right.
uncheck access at the top, and then
I never actually considered that because, yeah, I kind of would like to be able to see the title more. Good point.
yeah,
Ah,
let me just show you what that looks like. Go ahead and uncheck access, and that should give
right.
you a lot more room to read the title. There you go. That
Yeah.
looks better already. But then you could, take
Thanks,
off
Terry.
anything else. Um, like the comments field or something if you don't need that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then what we can also do, since you're using the bulk actions, look at, you can change the number of items per page.
Okay.
So you could go up to whatever. The
Right.
default is 20, but if you had 50 articles that you wanted to just see all at once and be able to bulk export, you could do it like that.
Huh. Never
Or
even thought about doing that, so thank you for that.
good, no problem. That's exactly what these. I always hope that you can get something out of these sessions
Sure.
because we're all getting a lot out of it from you. So Tommy, okay, no problem. You're welcome. Great. So I think those are most of the questions. Now let me finally get back to my notes here and just check that we covered everything that I wanted to. Back up. Okay, and I did have a couple questions that I wanted to make sure were answered. Several of these people were already asked them. So right now, let's just dig into this a little bit more. Actually, does the same person lay out the entire paper, or did you say that some people do certain sections and then you combine them?
Do you mean for my own? Um,
Right.
so I am, I guess, the editor and publisher. So I figure out what's going to go in, and then I, kind of do I send the XML file and the images to our artists who are then supposed to create it in, more or less the right sizes as far as like a quarter page or a half page. Obviously, not everything fits exactly right, so we have to tweak it a little.
Right.
And then on the night we're going to be actually getting the pages ready for the printer, I grab, copies of the articles and the paper, where all the ads are going to be, and I stick the articles on the, in their approximate location, and then I hand it back to the graphic artists who finish it, basically.
Okay, I got
So
it. So
it's a
there
weird
is.
system. I don't know if anybody else does it that way.
Well, I think everyone thinks their layout system is weird. I swear,
Yeah.
everyone that I
Really?
talk to is kind of like embarrassed
Well,
by it.
what? I started in the days of using like, wax and scissors. So this is sort of like grown from that, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all good. It's all positive and better than that. Okay, very cool. So we'll keep it open for questions, but I think maybe at this point we got about 15 minutes left. If we could change over the webcam or the control of the screen to me. Let's see if I can take this
Okay.
back. You might
Yeah.
have to give it to me,
Uh,
or I should be able to take it back, I think.
Stop
Okay.
sharing. No, that's my webcam.
Oh, yep, I think I got it. Now you
Okay.
should be able to see my presentation
Yep.
again,
Yep.
right? Okay,
Cool.
cool. So why don't you stay on with me, Meg, and just give me your feedback in real time? Because have you seen the Google Docs add-on yet?
No, I haven't actually. I'd like to see that.
Okay, let's talk about it. So this is a new feature. It's designed with the same goal of reverse publishing, which is just to increase the efficiency of publishing and reduce costs that way. And so this is actually part of my real process, which is why I kind of wanted to share it today. I was excited. When I do these interviews, we will write up kind of an outline. And so this is the outline from this meeting. I wanted to make sure we hit all the important questions. And so let's just pretend this is an article for a minute, like an actual news article. So what I can do is, without even leaving Google Docs, I can publish this story to the website. And so let me just quickly show you the website that I'm going to send it to, just so that you can see before and after. This is the articles that we have on the site, just a lot of post-interview outlines and things like that. So that's our top story right now. I'm going to put this in as the top story above that. So if I just go to my add-ons and say our hometown add-on, connect to WordPress, it's going to turn on this Google Docs add-on, which is free for anyone to download. And that it basically, you install the add-on onto your Google Docs account, but we still require you to log in and authenticate each article. It's very important that we maintain that level of security, because you're not actually logging into the website, you are connecting the Google Doc to the website. And so once this link is established, the connection successful, okay, now we have this control panel, this side panel here that has all the same controls that you have within the article editor on WordPress. So you're literally able to publish, make changes, change the category of the article, make changes to the article itself, and control it all from the Google Docs interface. So let me just make sure. Okay. Let me just show you this. So we saw the site that this is going to go to in a minute. I just have to give it a category, exactly like Meg said earlier. Every article needs a category, and we need to change the default status to publish because it's by default a draft. We actually don't really need an addition for these, but you would want it if your workflow was going to be from Google Docs to WordPress to to export to InDesign. You'd still want to give it an addition. So I don't know, I guess I might as well just give it today's date. Okay. Byline, you'd have all those same structured fields here. I'm going to upload my featured image. Okay, and then we're going to publish it as an OHT article. So when I create the article, this step takes a couple seconds because it needs to copy all the media over, check the credentials and all that. But if we go to the home page here, in a second, it should be, oh, it's actually still updating. So this is what it says while it's in the middle of updating. Let's just see. Wait till that actually finishes spinning. There we go. So there's the new article, Virtual Conference Reverse Publishing to Google Docs Outline. So that's exactly, so the title of the Google Doc becomes the headline, and then the body is just what's in the Google Docs. So we've got our image and then our outline here, okay? So that's publishing. Do you have any questions at that point, or any attendees have questions? Meg, does that make sense? Pretty straightforward. Now let me show you making a change really quick. So let's say like we're doing this live updates during the virtual conference. So I just made a change to the headline. All I got to do is say update article. And I could be adding images or changing, adding more to the body. Any change will do.
So really, if somebody wanted to, like if you had reporters or trusted people who you wanted to allow them to just live update your website, you could do that. That's pretty interesting.
Exactly. Yes, it would be as soon as you create an account for them on the website as an editor or a freelancer or something, then they would just need to download the Google Docs add-on, and then they wouldn't actually ever need to log into the WordPress site. They could do it all through the doc because they would be authenticated as a user. So yeah, when they log in, like I showed you at the beginning, they would have to do that on every Google Doc, but you just do it the one time and then you're in. So it's cool. It's very convenient for anyone that already uses Google Docs. I mean, and this is what we use as part of our workflow. So this is literally what I'm going to do. After this call and we get the video, we get all our highlights embedded in here, I'm going to just use this add-on to publish to our blog, and then we send it out in the newsletter. So we're doing a lot of the same stuff that newspapers do, just to kind of promote the platform.
I think there's some papers that allow members of the community to, like, if they have, upcoming events, and I suppose you could create a Google Doc, for trusted people to be able to just post their stuff without even you having to deal with them, and then you can get it out for your paper at the backside of it.
Right, yeah, exactly. I think the biggest, you could then export it. The biggest difference with this is that they wouldn't be able to touch any other articles. All that they could do is edit their docs.
That's a good idea, actually. I like that.
So yeah, so it's a really clean way to kind of let someone in and then just be able to deactivate it. Super easy. They would still have the add-on, but it wouldn't work. If you took away their credentials. So yep, that's that feature. Do you have any other comments, Meg, or questions on that?
Not offhand.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you hadn't really seen it before. This is kind of the first time. So, but I just want to point out the update here just went through instantly. So, again, I didn't have to log into the site, but I could make changes from the Google Doc, and as long as I hit update, it would go through. Okay, cool. So we're up at about the last 10 minutes here. So right on time. I think we've got most questions answered. So I'm going to wrap things up here. The last thing I just wanted to do is share with everyone a little bit about our hometown, because we've got quite a few customers on with us today. Meg's a customer. She's been with us for a long time. But we also have people that have never been with our hometown, and they're just joining us today to get the information. So just a little bit of background. We're from upstate New York. We were founded in 1997. We manage hundreds of weekly and daily newspapers across the U.S. And in a typical month, we're delivering 8 million monthly page views, just to give you an idea of our volume. But we spiked to around 16 million in April 2020, and we were able to scale to that performance level with no issues. We're built on WordPress. We saw a lot of that today. We saw also the integration with InDesign and Google Docs. So we went through all that in quite a bit of detail. We're going to be talking about our iOS and Android apps in a future virtual conference, so stay tuned for that. Also, we'll be discussing the PDF to HTML conversion, which is our full service option that Meg used for a long time, but she has gone more the self-service route. But a lot of our customers use that. We'll have another conference on that. You can learn more at our hometown and contact me at any time. If you're interested in a demo, we're happy to do a demo for free for anyone on the call today that wants to just see what your newspaper could look like on our platform. We'll set up, we can set up a conversation and or a prototype for you. So would love to hear from you all. Looks like we have one more question before we let everyone go. If a community member shares a Google Doc with the pub via email, the pub can grab everything from that doc and import to the site. Yeah, I mean, that would be, what do you think about that, Meg? What if you had the Google Docs add-on, someone could share a doc with you, and then it would kind of come under your Google Drive.
Yeah, no, I have people who send me Google Docs now, so it would probably work out.
Yeah, right, because
I like to read it and edit it before I put it in. That's the only thing. I have to think about that. Right.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is your process is you're editing right before they go onto the website. This might make sense. It might make be a little bit more natural of a fit if you were like in the CMS, just like watching things come in from other people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's some people I would trust, and other people I'd need to fix it first. So
no, I hear you. Yeah, completely. As someone that's writing on a blog myself, yeah, I totally get it. So just another option. We're just trying to come up with alternatives for publishers to make it more smooth and streamlined. Okay, very helpful from Tommy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tommy. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up here. So thank you so much, Meg. I really appreciate you taking the time to present today. That was fantastic, really. So wonderful, better than I could have presented it for sure. So thank you for all sharing your expertise today, and all the attendees, thank you for joining and for all your participation. We couldn't do it without you. We'll send a follow-up email with a link to the recording sometime next week when we publish this. And stay tuned. We'll be having more of these virtual conferences. We hope to do these regularly going forward. So look forward to more announcements on that. Thanks again, everyone. I appreciate the time. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Thanks, Nick. Take care.